See, now this is why I wait a while before reviewing a movie. Like, you just gotta let it simmer down first. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is written and directed by, his name apparently is pronounced Dean DeBlois, like I pronounced it Dean DeBlois last time, like I'm so sorry for that. And you've got the entire cast of the first How to Train Your Dragon returning here, and of course, this features the voices of Jay Baruchel, Gerard Butler, and we have two new voices also, Kate Blanchett and Jaimon Hansu. Also, Kit Harington from Game of Thrones is here too. Now, How to Train Your Dragon 2 takes place 5 years after the events of the first one. Now, Hiccup is this full-fledged dragon master guy. Everyone in Berk, of course, has adapted to life with dragons. They're using them, for fun, like dragon racing and, as pets, also to help them out with work. And Hiccup has been exploring the world beyond the boundaries of Berk. And, when he goes off on one of his adventures, he discovers that there's someone out there who is capturing dragons in order to kind of have this dragon army and just take over the world. And while all of that is happening, Hiccup meets his mother. And I don't think that's a spoiler, that's in the trailers, everyone knows about it. And yeah, he meets his mother. Now, just to explain what I meant in the intro of this video, I consider myself pretty good at not being affected by hype. When I walk into the theater, I just, remove all preconceived notions that I got from, people telling me how good or bad something is, and I just go in there a blank slate. However, the thing that does affect me is my disposition when I enter the theater. Like, if I'm not in the mood to watch a movie, I won't really enjoy that movie no matter what it is. And that's honestly what kind of happened to me when I watched How to Train Your Dragon 2, because, we were pushed into a 3D screening because everything was sold out and I really didn't want to watch it in 3D. The theater was packed and I'm kind of uncomfortable when a theater is packed. So suffice to say, when I finished watching How to Train Your Dragon 2, I didn't really enjoy it that much. However, when I reviewed my notes, which is what I do before recording a review, I realized that, there wasn't, that many things bad about it, really. Like, when I looked at it again, I just realized how much great stuff was in this movie. In fact, like, as a whole, upon reflection, realizing just how good this movie is, I might say that it is, as a whole, like, the best movie this summer so far. Now, when you talk about animation and How to Train Your Dragon 2, it's wow. Like, there's no way to describe just how amazing the animation is here. Like, this is pretty much some of the, if not the best animation in an animated film ever. As I mentioned in my first review for How to Train Your Dragon, DreamWorks really does environments really well. And here, like, it's almost photorealistic. Like, the environments, the lighting, and the particle effects and stuff, all of it looks fantastic. It looks very, very real. Like, when you see the water in the trailer, and there's a scene in this movie where you see a lot of smoke, like, it really looks like it's there. And, they got Roger Deakins, the great cinematographer, to help them out, visually. The character designs and movement of the characters has also been very improved. Like, what I love about this movie is that there's so many little details and everything, like the stubble on Hiccup's chin, and, just when you have Hiccup and Toothless just flying around, you see all these little details, like, you know, mountains and shrubbery and, things jumping out of the water and stuff like that. And of course, the flight sequences are like one of the main reasons why you'd want to watch this movie, because the flight sequences this time are directed even better. Like, we get some of the coolest like camera angles, and just the way the camera sweeps around, it feels like you're riding on the back of, Toothless. And the one thing I really enjoyed about How to Train Your Dragon 2 upon reflection is that I really think the dragons have been given more of a voice this time. Like, it became more apparent to me that they sound different and stuff. Toothless especially has been given much more of a voice. He really feels like his own character now. Like, he's not just tied to Hiccup. Now, he really is a really, really cool dragon. Whereas in the first movie, he was kind of more of like a cat, a curious cat who would get angry at times. Here, he's more like a dog. He's very, very cute and cuddly, but when he gets angry, man, you do not want to cross an angry Toothless. John Powell returns, of course, with the original score. I still liked his score in the first movie, however, it still is very good here. However, nice additions to the music have been given by the lead singer of Sigur Rós, and there's a song here sung by Gerard Butler and Kate Blanchett, and I think that scene is my favorite scene in the entire movie. The song they sing is so sweet and so nice and so fun. Now, I wouldn't say that How to Train Your Dragon 2 is very much about its plot as it is about, building this world. And, lots of people have said that, this is like what a sequel should do, and it does this very well. Like, it really does expand the first movie without, really revisiting those same points. And the world they create here is really, really great. It really does feel like a natural extension of the first movie, because it doesn't feel like we're suddenly in a completely different place 5 years later. It really just feels like we've grown from the first movie. This is very much character-driven piece, though, and the characters here are really pushed to different places, and I like that. I like how the filmmakers try to test how these characters will act under certain situations. And Hiccup is definitely much more confident this time. However, he still does not really want to face responsibility. Gerard Butler's character Stoic the Vast is no longer trying to connect with Hiccup, but he's trying to kind of show that Hiccup has a bigger place in this world, and that there's more to his life than just dragon riding. The greatest relationship in this movie, though, is definitely the one between Stoic and the mother of Valka, and it's great to see just how these two interact with each other. There's lots of weight behind it, and how Train Your Dragon 2 really just pushes the bar in terms of like serious themes and stuff. Like this movie, I wouldn't really consider it a kids film at all. It's like a straight up adventure movie. It just happens to be animated, and it really deals with familial themes, and the themes of loss and what you do when you find someone who you've lost. And in terms of voice acting, Jay Baruchel really owns Toothless now. Like in the first movie, it was kind of a gimmick because he was kind of this geeky kid and stuff, and his voice really complemented that. But here, now that Toothless looks like that, Jay Baruchel, he really owns his character. Like his tone of voice, like his unique sounding voice, really just adds a dimension to Hiccup. You're reminded that he is like a vulnerable kid, and he's not this cool superhero kind of guy. Gerard Butler shows a lot more sensitivity in this movie. Like there's a lot of really sweet moments with him, and he really just comes to his own as a character. And Kate Blanchett, though, like she really proves herself here that no matter what role she's in, even if it's an animated role, she really transforms into this character. Like her voice work in this movie is spectacular. Now, Dean DeBlois really has a respect for the animation. Like I said this in my review for the first one, and he really retains it here because, you know, as opposed to other DreamWorks movies, he knows when to just let the animation do the talking. And of course, you see that through the flight sequences and the fight sequences and all that, and it's really great stuff. It's not like he just shows us the world and then says, okay, here it is, now let's get to the story. Like he really integrates his world building into his storytelling. And he really knows how to add weight to certain action scenes and emotional scenes. It always feels like there's something at stake, and there's this huge action scene near the end that is mind blowing. It's so cool. And I'm actually going to say that How to Train Your Dragon 2 is the most mature film that DreamWorks Animation has ever done. Shrek is still kind of like more mature in terms of like adult humor and stuff, but How to Train Your Dragon 2 really does not feel like this comedy kind of thing. It really is just a straight on adventure movie. Now, while my opinion of How to Train Your Dragon 2 changed while I was reviewing it, I really do have a couple of problems with this movie. For one, it's not as tight as I wanted it to be. What I mean by this is that certain events just kind of happen, and then suddenly we're there, and then oh okay, like there's no build up for certain scenes. Like there's when they finally encounter the villain of this movie, Drago Bloodfist. Like he just kind of pops up, and then suddenly there's a fighting scene, and like it's kind of jarring because it came from like an emotional scene with Hiccup and his mom and stuff, and suddenly oh okay, we're here. Like there wasn't, it didn't feel like they were connected. And speaking of Drago Bloodfist, he is a very weak villain. I'm sorry, like that's just one of the things that I really could not accept about this movie, is that he was so cookie cutter, and his motivations were really vague, and at first he seemed threatening, but he never took those moments to really hurt somebody. It's just he just kind of stood there gloating sometimes. But other than that, and upon reviewing How to Train Your Dragon 2, I have to conclude that it is a great movie. Like this is like the first really great movie I think this summer has gotten. I'm sorry to X-Men, Edge of Tomorrow, I love you guys, but How to Train Your Dragon 2, man, like wow. Now, I personally don't think How to Train Your Dragon 2 is very similar to the first one at all, so just be wary of that when you watch it. Like, it's not like that. And it's going to turn out to be a very exciting fight for Best Animated Feature at next year's Oscars. How to Train Your Dragon 2 and the Lego Movie is going to be one for the ages. Alright guys, that is my review for How to Train Your Dragon 2. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment and let's have a conversation.